Yeah, I mean, I've said it a dozen times in terms of the camp of Israel, the covenant community, the people of God. So after chapters 1 through 10, one good way to sort of look at the book in a simple threefold outline is chapters 1 through 10 is the camp of Israel. Chapters 11 through 25 is the journey of Israel. And then chapters 26 through 36 is the land of Israel. And what's happening in the two bookends, the camp of Israel and this basic paradigm for God dwelling among his people in their midst, when we get to the last third, chapters 26 through 36, all of that pattern is going to be impressed upon the land. And so everything we learned about life with God in the camp gets put on the land. And then you have the journey in between. And just to show how the camp of Israel is really the topic that never disappears, chapter 11 begins immediately where God's people rebel. And if you notice, God's judgment, and this is verses 1 through 3, begins in the outskirts of the camp. And literally what begins to happen throughout this journey is we start to analyze the camp by going through its structure. So chapters 11 through 15 is the outer camp that corresponds to the opening two chapters where it's constructed. And the big rebellion is of the 12 tribes. So we got 12 leaders that go to scout out the land. 10 of them bring back, a bad report. They slander God's good gift. And basically we say the outer camp fails. And they're not allowed into the land for another 40 years till the next generation rises up. Well, the very next section of numbers in that journey is chapter 16 through 18. And suddenly we're dealing only with the Levites primarily. Now, Levites don't occur anywhere in chapters 11 through 15. So we're literally walking through a blueprint of the camp, and Korah and his band rebel against the high priest. We're all holy, and they need to be taught the reason why we need this mediation. And then we get to Numbers 20, and we're at the heart and center of the camp where Moses, who represents the reign of God, misrepresents God. And so we're actually seeing a breakdown and failure of every part of the covenant community, but also God's response and what God does for his community to continue onward. And so, again, having the covenant community in mind, it's being turned and analyzed with all sorts of helpful application for the church today and for leadership today. The book of Numbers is the other significant aspect. It's all about leadership. So a good comparison is when Moses in the book of Deuteronomy looks back at the failure of the tribes to take the land, he doesn't focus on the leaders at all. He only talks about the people's accountability. Whereas Numbers, the emphasis, look at the influence of the leaders for bad. And so in Numbers is where we hear about the 10 scouts that slandered the land of God. They're immediately plagued and executed by God. And so we're looking at leadership and its responsibility for the covenant community, whereas Deuteronomy is just looking sort of at the people in mass.